If you want to know the best spots and methods to farm XP, JP, and money in mid-game, you are in the right place. I've spent dozens of hours hunting and optimizing these 4 farming methods so I can give you the fastest and most efficient spots that will not waste your precious time. Following this guide will let you earn more than 14k XP, 6,000 JP, and even a whopping 182k worth of money so you can break mid-game in the earliest time possible. Like for example, the Grey Grotto spot offers level 24 enemies that are weak to lightning and dark element. Lots of duplicate enemies in here that have identical weaknesses when it comes to weapon types, so breaking them will be an easy task for you, making this spot a viable farming spot. Find this dungeon in the western section of the map by starting from Valor, Valor Trail, West Valor Trail, and then Cragspear Pass, where the entrance of the dungeon is located in the western part of the area. For us to be efficient in our runs, we need to set up a couple of things to tweak our farming build. Tressa the Merchant will be used a lot in all of our methods on this list, so unlock her by visiting the town of Rippletide and talking to his dad, located in the eastern section of the map. You'll be doing a series of straightforward side quests with her, and she will join your party once all of the interactions are done. You don't really need any broken equipment to make this setup work. Just have all of the best gear that you can get from Cragspear, which is a town located near the dungeon. Like for example, buying the Bandit Spear from the Victor's Hollow Merchant and equipping it to your protagonist if your job is a merchant. If you are low on cash, the weapons and armors that the local smithy provides will do just fine. The merchant protagonist and Alexia are the main damage dealer for this lineup, so pay attention to their equipment. So I highly suggest getting the History of Orstera in the town of Triatropolis to have a significant boost to damage, but if you don't want to do the save and reload trick just to get these tomes, make sure Alexia is equipped with the best tome that you can get in Cragspear. Getting the extra experience mastery is highly suggested so you can have the highest gains possible in your runs. Get the support mastery by engaging the retired military leader so that we can move to our party formation. Follow the party formation that I'm showing on the screen right now and you are good to go. And yes, having the merchant job for the protagonist is highly suggested when doing all of the methods on this list, and this will make sense later on. The actual method is pretty simple. Use any of your multi-hitting skills or AoE skills to break all enemies as soon as possible. Or you can use your normal attacks with charged BP and use the right weapon types to deal weakness damage to break enemies fast. But here's an actual demonstration of the method for your convenience. Like for example, we are dealing with 3 armor eaters that spawn in this area. What I usually do as an opener is cast Stia's Full Swing to deal axe damage AoE. If Alexia takes her turn, don't use any BP and cast a normal AoE spell, preferably the enemy's elemental weakness if there's any. If the protagonist can't deal any weapon weakness damage, switch to Macy and either use an attack that charged with BP or use her Twin Bash skill. The same thing applies to Viator. You are better off using his normal attacks charged with BP to deal multiple weapon weakness damage. Stia takes her turn and she can use another full swing for this matter to break the remaining enemies. If somehow Stia failed to break all enemies, use your other members to break the remaining enemy, that is Kelsus for this instance. Once all of the enemies are broken, skip to the protagonist so he can cast maximum Mystic Shot damage to recover the party's HP and wipe all targets, allowing you to have an infinite source of SP without the need to use plums or return to towns to restore your skill points. If you get used to the runs, you can quickly finish each run in a minute, and doing 5 to 6 runs takes 5 minutes in total, which will give you an average of 324 XP, 165 JP, and more than 5k worth of leads. So in an hour of consistent farming, we are looking at almost 4k worth of XP on average, almost 2k JP, and 65k worth of leaves per hour, which is decent to get you going and buy all of the things you need to optimize the next spot. While farming in this spot or in Grey Grotto, make sure to just stay and farm in the initial area, since the depths of this dungeon have bad enemy groupings with assorted weaknesses, making your runs inefficient. And if you're getting value so far, subscribe to the channel. Liking the video and engaging in the comments helps me more than you can imagine. Another good spot to consider when reaching level 30 is the Flame Grace Wilds. Just like the previous spot, this method offers enemies in packs with identical weaknesses, like bears and moths weak to the axe weapon types or from wind element, allowing the user to break them in a few turns. Access this spot by starting from the town of Emberglow, West Emberglow Wilds, and then Flame Grace Wilds. make sure to unlock the town of Flame Grace as we will go back to it later on. Nothing changes in the build equipment wise, but you are welcome to check all of the gear that the town of Flame Grace offers, especially the smithy. While you can see here that I am still using the equipment that I got from Cragspear, so it is pretty doable even if no update was made in terms of gear. We are still going to follow the same strategy from the previous spot, where our priority is breaking all enemies with normal attacks or skills, then finishing them with the protagonist's mystic shot or with elemental attacks from Alexia. The main difference now is that enemies in this spot are mostly weak to the wind element, so Tressa can pitch in and wipe or break enemies with her AoE elemental damage. Let me give you a quick example of what the runs look like. The Winter Winds in the spot are weak to your main weapon types, so starting with Full Swing with Stia, Kelsos can either cast Wild Blade or use your normal attacks with BP for multiple hits. Viator will do the same, and Tressa can cast her Trade Tempest for an AoE wind damage. The same strategy will repeat and so on until all enemies are broken. Once all targets are broken, the protagonist will then cast his fully charged Mystic Shot to refresh the entire party's SP while also wiping all targets. Mastering the methods can give you 5 to 6 runs in a 5-minute window, giving you an average of 547 XP, 162 JP, and an average of almost 6k leaves. Doing this method in an hour and this spot will give you 6500 XP, nearly 2k JP, and 71k of leaves on average. But what if I told you that the real farming is just starting and things will go even crazier? The Cavern's Mess offers level 33 enemies for you to farm without the need for manual breaking. And yes, you heard that right, you don't really need to break anything in here. You'll be wiping enemies during your first turn, so your gains are doubled, giving you a huge amount of resources. This is where the game truly breaks, so pay attention to this one. Find this side dungeon by starting from Ripple Tide and heading to the Ripple Tide coast and then North Shepherd's Rock Pass to find the entrance of the dungeon. Since you can easily use the Flame Gray spot to reach level 30, you can already continue the story and unlock the training facility. And this is where things will get spicy. Unlocking and upgrading this facility will allow you to master and acquire other skills across your party members with the use of JP to make the skills equipable into a new character of your choice. Not only that, but upgrading the training facility will also unlock character ultimates. So character builds just got broken when you unlock this feature. Unlock the training facility by following the Rekindling of Flame main story events, and eventually, it will lead you to the town of Sunshade and its events. All of the enemies in this area are level 29, which is nothing you can handle. I will dive into this feature in another video as there are a lot of possible combinations when it comes to skill masteries. But for now, let's focus on the actual skills that will improve your farming runs. Once you can master and produce more skills, we will be learning new skills to improve your farming runs. My protagonist here is equipped with Monster Magnet, so enemies encounters will commence much faster, leading to huge gains of resources. Get this mastery from contending the punching bag NPC in Cragspear Slums. Although this dude is level 35, beating him is manageable if you abuse the provoke and parry strategy of my man Viator. My protagonist is equipped with SP Saver, which is really not required, but nice to have. And you can easily learn this skill from Tressa's kit. But of course, he is still using the merchant job for the extra leave support skills and borrow BP, which is very important in this setup. Tressa is going to be our second party member in this build just because of the donate BP skill she has. I suggest mastering the Trade Tempest skill for Alexia so she can have a strong wind element finisher in our farming runs later on. And you can get this wind elemental skill from Tressa. Learn the borrow BP skill from the protagonist merchant, and this will make sense later on. Use the second slot in equipping the Stronger Strike Mastery to make her equip spells stronger. Get this Esther Mastery in the Fine Sun dungeon located near the town of Sunshade. Open the red treasure chest located in the north section of the map to get this skill. We already have the extra experience mastery if you are following this guide, but the extra JP mastery can be learned from the dancer job of the protagonist. When it comes to gear, just make sure to buy regular or traded equipment in Wishvale. Ludo Shop will be unlocked along with a training facility, so make sure to check all of the equipment you can buy to increase your party members' stats. Prioritize buying the Hasty Hat to have additional speed, so we can manipulate your turn order later on, and make sure that Alexia will have a good tome. I only have the encyclopedia of herbs in this recording, and this is more than enough to get you going. So if you do have the Forbidden Tome and the Elemental Augmentor that you can get from Flame Grace, those are even better. And I am showing my actual equipment setup on the screen right now. And pay attention to the speed stat of Alexia, Tressa, Stia, and the protagonist. Alexia should have the lowest speed stat among the three, and this will make sense later on. Now that you are ready, the actual method from this spot and the next one will be so efficient and your farming sessions will never be the same. Find your first enemy and the method goes like this. Stia will go first and use BP and charge donate BP to your protagonist. Then your protagonist will cast a max mystic shot to damage and produce SP for the party. Tressa will go next and use BP to charge another donate BP now on Alexia. Alexia will then cast either her Thunder or Dark AoE damage to finish the fight. And this strategy will never change regardless of which enemy you've come across in this spot. Pretty crazy, right? No more breaking, just straight killing. Now you will ask me, hey Samurai, why Alexia needed the borrow BP support skill if Tressa can already give her 2 charge of BPs and cast a fully charged spell? Alexia needs the borrow BP support skill just in case the enemy didn't die in her first elemental finisher. So when the next turn comes, you are still able to cast skills that are charged and deal serious damage. The same thing applies to the protagonist. We really don't need to break enemies this time, so fights last as fast as 30 seconds, so our runs are more efficient, giving you an insane 1200 average XP, nearly 400 JP, and almost 11k worth of leaves per 5-minute run, giving you a whopping nearly 15k XP, 4500 JP, and a mind-blowing 130k worth of leaves per hour, which is pretty insane. If you find the previous spot crazy, nothing really beats the Sufratalgia Sands farming spot on this list, giving you a mind-blowing nearly 15k XP, 6k plus worth of JP, and an insane 180k plus worth of leaves on average in an hour of consistent farming. This spot will allow you to farm level 39 enemies without the need to change the setup or strategy. Access this spot by starting at Sunshade, then heading to Sunshade Pass, Eastern Sunshade Pass, and then finally the Sufratalgia Sands. While you are here, make sure to unlock the town of Sufratalgia so you can get back to it later on. And as mentioned, there will be no changes in the build or the same actual method applies. Stia will go first and cast a charged donate BP skill on the protagonist. Then the protagonist will then cast a fully charged Mystic Shot to give the party SP. Then Tressa will cast a charged donate BP skill on Alexia. And finally, Alexia will finish the job with her lightning or dark AoE damage. The only difference now is that you can cast the Trade Tempest to wipe out enemies that are weak to wind element in this spot. Keep in mind that the recordings you are seeing here are just level 33 to 35 characters. And my Alexia and the protagonist do not have the Raging Bow or the Forbidden Tome and the Elemental Augmentor equipped. Your actual gains are about to get crazy because the enemies can be wiped out in a one-turn kill, even though they are all level 39. Fight still lasts around 30 seconds, and a full 5-minute run can give you an average of nearly 15k worth of XP, a whopping 6k plus of JP, and 180k worth of cash per hour. Now you might be wondering why the Cavern Mist spot and this spot have the same XP average gains. It is because some enemies in the Cavern Mist spot tends to drop 170 XP per fight, but you can totally see that the Sufratalgia Sands gives you more JP and money by a lot. So you can easily max out your protagonist jobs or make insane builds by mastering new skills or by anything that you want in the game. But what if you just started a game and want to know the best and earliest farming spots? This video will teach you everything you need to know, so click on it and I will catch you on the next one.